Want to learn how to pay off credit card debt fast? Well, you better stay tuned today because that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Hey, Frank Thomas here from Wealth Generation Strategies, and today we're going to be talking about the topic of paying credit card debt off fast, because we got to pay it off fast. Now, you might ask me, Frank, why do you got to pay that stuff off fast? Like, what's the problem here, dude? Well, the problem is credit card debt is very high interest debt. The whole idea being, for every dollar you spend, they're charging you points every year, every month, every day on whatever you've borrowed from that credit card company. Let me give you an example. If you have a mortgage, now people are reeling over mortgages of 5%. So basically, if for $1, you're paying 5 cents a year to borrow that dollar. Now, with a mortgage, it's a large sum of money, so it exasperates the problem, basically. It makes it much bigger than what it would normally be. Now, with credit cards, they're very insidious in the fact that you could be getting charged 30% interest on a credit card. It's not unusual to see between 20 and 30% interest on a credit card. So for every dollar you've borrowed off of Mr. Visa or Mr. MasterCard or Mr. whatever it is, it's costing you anywhere from 20 cents to 30 cents per year. And you go, well, it's not really a big deal. Believe it or not, it's a huge deal because it's taking money out of your pocket. Coupled to that, credit card companies have a repayment schedule that is, in my consideration, unrealistic. When you are using a credit card, you're basically creating money where there is none. You're making a promise that you're going to use real money to pay off that money that didn't exist. So that's how it all balances out at the end of the day. So that means it comes out of your pocket in the long run. But it gives you this feeling of power that you can go and spend. Oh, I can go get that. Really, oh, look at that. That's awesome. I got to go get that. It's a bit of a facade because it's giving you power where you really don't have power. True power is when you've saved the money and you can go buy things cash, especially if it's from passive income from what you've actually saved, which is, we'll be talking about that in other videos, but wait for that. What happens is credit card companies, their payback period is a little unrealistic. You are paying back a credit card, they want you to pay back just enough that you've covered the interest and maybe a few bucks on top of that. So you're really not chipping away at what you've actually borrowed. In the long run, what can happen is if you're paying back, and I've seen a lot of people do this, they're paying back their credit cards in the schedule that's given to them. The credit card will say, oh, your minimum payment, I'm sure you've heard this term, your minimum payment this month is only $23, but you've borrowed $2,000. It is unrealistic. You'll never pay that back, and you'll pay a tremendous amount in interest in the long run on that $1,000 per se. I know it because I used to do it. Eventually, what happens is you chip up those credit cards, and here's the other insidious thing that happens. With the advent of electronic statements, and they don't really mail them to you anymore, you don't get this bad news at the end of the month, and you go, oh my goodness, I've just spent $3,000 on the credit card this month. What did I spend it on? I'm sure we've all asked that question. What did I spend that on? The reason why is we're using it and it doesn't feel like cash. Because remember when I said earlier, it's an imaginary money, it's pretend money. They're basically offering you a line of credit. They're using real money to back that. They're offering you, though, the ability to spend that money that you have not yet earned. So it makes it really easy to spend that money. You see something, you're like, oh, look at the new iPhone, or look at the new computer, or look at the new car, or whatever it is. And then you go out and you go, ching, and at the end of the month, you get the bad news in the mail. But now we have electronic online statements. So what happens is you don't see anything until you actually have to do a little bit of work and go online and go, oh, my shattered nerves. Like I did it the other day. We had to use a credit card. We only have one credit card. That's one of the points I'm going to be talking about later. But I had to use that credit card to pay for a few things this month. So I went online, looked at the balance, $1,800. Oh, my shattered nerves. Paid it off. You don't feel it as it's building. If you actually took money out of the bank and put it in your wallet and you're spending it, you can see that money disappearing. And it's one of the reasons why advocates like Dave Ramsey says use cash. It's not because they're trying to buck the system. The truth of the matter is, using plastic, like a piece of plastic, you don't see the amount coming off. Now, if they had a little register on that piece of plastic that was like, and you could see the amount dropping, you would go, oh, hold off, man. Or you could see the amount go up. Oh, hold on. I've already borrowed $1,000. No, I'm done. But you don't see it. So you go and spend more, and you spend it indiscretionately. That's where the problem is. So we want to pay it off fast, but that's the real topic here. So let's get it paid off fast. Today we're going to be talking about how do we do that. First and foremost, we want to make sure we minimize the number of credit cards we have. We really and truthfully want to be carrying one credit card. There is a case where I'd say you carry two. One is for you personally, and one is if you have a business and you're doing business expenses, but you're monitoring both those cards very closely. If you're carrying multiple credit cards, it's easy to rack up 400 here, 500 there, 900 over there. And what happens is you've borrowed a couple $1,000, but it doesn't feel that way. What we want to do then is if we do have multiple credit cards is we want to take a look and say, okay, I have 400 here, 500 here, 900 over here. Pay off the 400 first. Don't look at the interest rate. Look at how much is borrowed. Pay off the lowest interest credit card first. It frees up the capital that you can pay for other credit cards going forward right away. In a lot of cases, you might be able to erase and wipe off the table a few small credit cards very quickly. My recommendation is if you have two credit cards that are very similar, like one's at $350, one's at $380, but one is at 20% and you have a credit card from a department store at 35%, pay off the one at 35% because it's charging you more points. It's costing you more to hold on to that money as credit. So pay that off quickly. Make it a systematic approach that every paycheck you actually take, you do have a budget, right? Put it on your budget that you actually are paying a fixed amount out of your budget towards those credit cards. And in the beginning, make it hurt. If you only have an extra $400 every month, put $450. Find ways to shave other places. I promise you, the pain that you're going to go through for several months is going to teach you not to use those credit cards. Do not use your credit cards. Stop using them. That's what brings the balance up. If you haven't figured this one out yet, when you go cha-ching and you go buy something, you've increased the amount of credit that you've borrowed and you're defeating your efforts on trying to pay them off fast. Do not use them. If you have to for a while, take the cash out of the bank. I have $300 or I have $200 every month to spend on going out and buying stuff, etc., etc., etc. And once it's gone, you ain't buying nothing, baby. I have done that, and I still to this day do that. I have a certain amount every month that I take out, and it's a line item on my budget. Back to that whole budget again, that is for indiscretionate spending. I'm in a position now where I'm very fortunate where I can put a larger sum so I can have more fun now. But there was a time where I had a line item on my budget for indiscretionate spending and it was a goose egg. Me, zero. I couldn't spend anything. And that's the truth of it. So we went for years. They call it being house poor. I was life poor. Man, it was worse. I was life poor and it sucked big time. I was very unhappy, but I had to learn to find happiness in other places other than spending on credit cards. Now, if you're sitting on a lot of credit card debt, and some people are, I sat down and talked to a couple, they were sitting on $110,000 of credit card debt. Yeah. It was insane how much credit card debt they were sitting on. And it was anywhere from about 15% to 30%. Needless to say, they were absolutely gagging. They could barely make the minimum payments on it. And I'm dead serious with you. So they were never going to get out of debt. And they were going to pay back the credit card companies hundreds of thousands of dollars. I said to them, if you want to pay these off and you need to pay these off, you need to get radical. Look around your house and decide, what am I not using that I can sell, turn it into cash, and put it against the credit card and make it go away. They actually went and sold they had a motorhome. They loved using it. It's one of the things they had. And they turned around and they sold it, and they were able to take off $50,000 or $60,000 off their credit card, like instantaneously. And immediately the value and relief of being able to now start making headway on these credit cards was worth more to them than the enjoyment they got from the motorhome. Their opinion was, hey, in a few years we can always just go buy another motorhome, or we can go buy another RV or whatever it is. But my point here is, Get radical, look around your house and decide, what am I not using? What can I sell and get rid of it? Turn it into cash. Another way, which I very cautiously recommend, is to look at your local banker and look at getting a consolidation loan. Now, this comes with the caveat that you cannot go and spend the money again once you've paid all the credit cards off. Now, why would you do this? When you get this loan, what happens is it's usually at a lower interest rate, and it has a fixed principal payback period. So within 5 years, you're going to pay that $20 or $30 or $40 or $50,000 off, and it's gone. But in the meanwhile, do not do a frank. Now, a frank, I'm going to tell you, is you get that loan, you get all the debt off your credit cards, but you don't get rid of the credit cards, and you go use the credit cards again, and you rack them back up. Now, you go from being in debt for $10,000 for being in debt for $20,000 and then for $30,000. Yeah, you can do it. I've done it. Don't do that. The best thing you can do is, if you have to look down the loan route, remember my caveat, go and, even if you got to for a while, just cut all those credit cards up, cancel the accounts, make them go away. You can always get those credit cards back later if you really want them. And it's going to be inconvenient, because in today's day and age, credit is important. Now that brings me to my next point. Credit is important. In a lot of cases, you can't get a Netflix subscription because that's your source of entertainment, because it's relatively inexpensive, unless you use a credit card to buy it. So I would say in those cases, have one credit card. And don't carry the darn thing around with you. Put it in the drawer in your desk, and you use it, and you have fixed subscriptions. You know what those subscriptions are. Oh, Netflix is $20 a month. YouTube is $30 a month, whatever it is. And you know how much it is at the end of the month that's being charged to that account. You make it a line item on your budget, and you pay that on a systematic basis. That's what I recommend. So what happens is, you will get to a place where you'll start making headway. In the beginning, it's not going to feel like you're getting anywhere, but trust me, you are getting somewhere. Before we get to our bonus though for today, I want to just ask you, if you're enjoying this video and you're getting value from it, subscribe to the channel. I got lots more videos here, as well as lots to come, and there's lots for you to see. So please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you really like the video, give it a thumbs up. But let's get into our bonus here. The number one thing I can say to you to pay your credit cards off fast, especially once you get to a place where you've actually paid the darn things off, make it your mission in life that at the end of the month, whatever you charge, you can pay off immediately. So you always keep those credit cards at a zero balance. That has multiple effects. First of all, it will force you to limit your spending on the credit card. You will literally limit your spending because you know you've only got an extra few bucks. What I would do is, if we racked up a credit card in 1 month, and I went and looked online and looked at the bill and went, oh my goodness gracious, we just spent $300 that I was not expecting. Guess where that money comes from? From my indiscretion and fun off my budget. I take it off of that line item, I don't get paid that, and it goes to the credit card because we've already had the fund. It's already gone. Keep it that you automatically pay your credit cards at the end of the month and get that balance back to zero. Sometimes it's not as easy as that and you haven't got as much money, but make it a plan now that you stop spending, you stop everything on it, and you use 2 or 3 months to pay it off. That way you quickly get that credit card paid off, because you want to get it paid off quickly. Another thing happens too is, weird as it sounds, it improves your credit score, because you're actually paying your debt off in a systematic manner. And they want to see that. How does that help you? In the future, when you go to get a mortgage or you go to buy a car, you'll get preferred interest rates. In other words, you'll get lower interest rates than everybody else, which means you save money. We're not going to go to do this to spend more money, but sometimes in life you have to. I just had to buy my wife a new car because we had such good credit, because we have been paying our bills off and getting them back to zero every month for years now, and we've never missed a payment. What happens is the banks fight to get our business, and we get it lower and lower and lower. We saved a few points on our car loan that we had to take out temporarily, but even then, I used the same techniques I'm talking about. I'm paying these credit cards off fast. I'm paying that car loan off fast. It's my desire. Within a year, no more than 18 months, that car loan is gone, baby, and I'm going to be paying that off. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I have another video that talks about frugal living. It actually talks about very specific situations where in life I've done weird things to live more frugally. And it will help you if you learn how to live frugally to pay your credit cards off faster too. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So go take a look at that video. If you do, we'll see you over there. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.